Initiating 0G sleep mode. Gravity is offline. Let your body float. Welcome to the most relaxing facts about Mercury to fall asleep. 2. Tonight, from this suspended state of weightlessness, allow your mind to drift toward the innermost planet of our solar system. We will journey from the slow, hypnotic rhythm of its lonely orbit, glide through the profound silence of its airless sky, and finally rest in the eternal shadows where ancient ice sleeps despite the sun's fire. It is a voyage that transforms the scorching heat into a soothing warmth, and the freezing cold into a comforting stillness for your tired soul. Before we completely leave the Earth behind, I wonder where your signal is coming from tonight. Are you watching the stars from a quiet midnight, or perhaps drifting off during a lazy afternoon nap? Let me know the time and place of your departure in the comments below, connecting our constellation of dreamers. Now, there is absolutely nothing you need to accomplish. Simply let go of the day's heavy gravity. I must offer a gentle warning, however. These secrets are so unexpectedly serene that they might keep your imagination awake a little longer than planned. But that is a fair trade to gain a perspective as timeless as the cosmos itself. If this journey brings you peace, consider leaving a like as a silent beacon to show you are safe in orbit. Take a deep breath, release your shoulders, and let us begin. Resting quietly at the very center of our celestial neighborhood, Mercury is the smallest of all the major worlds, a delicate marble lost in the vast, dark ocean of space. Imagine a world so diminutive that its diameter stretches only 4,879 kilometers, a humble sphere that does not seek to dominate the void, but simply exists within it. It floats there like a silent observer, a tiny, perfect circle of rock and metal that has survived the eons without the need to be large or imposing. This smallness is not a weakness, but a form of purity, a concentrated existence that requires less space, less attention, and simply finds its own peaceful corner of the solar system to call home. It reminds us that significance does not require vastness, and that even the smallest things can hold a heavy, grounding presence in the fabric of the cosmos. As you visualize this compact world, let yourself feel small, curled up, and protected, safely tucked away like this tiny planet in the great, comforting expanse of the night. To understand just how modest this planet truly is, one must look to the giant moons that orbit the gas giants in the outer reaches of the system. Mercury is so compact that it is actually smaller in size than Ganymede, the largest moon of Jupiter, and Titan, the hazy satellite of Saturn. It is a fascinating celestial paradox, a fully formed planet that is physically humbled by the moons of other worlds, yet it retains its title and its independence with a quiet dignity, while those giant moons remain forever tethered to their parent planets. Dragged along by a stronger gravity, this small world charts its own sovereign path around the sun, free and unattached. It teaches us that true stature is not about physical dimensions, but about the freedom to follow one's own orbit, no matter how small or unassuming that path might be. Allow yourself to let go of the need to be big or important, finding comfort in being small, quiet, and entirely free to drift in your own space. In the great cosmic ocean, this planet chooses to travel on a journey of absolute solitude, completely unaccompanied by any celestial companion. Along with Venus, it is one of the only two planets in our system that possesses no moon to circle its night sky, drifting alone through the silent ages. The immense, invisible hands of the sun's gravity have gently swept away any debris that might have tried to orbit it, leaving Mercury completely unburdened, stripped of the tidal weights that pull at other worlds. It moves through the vacuum without the push and pull of a satellite, existing in a state of singular, undisturbed equilibrium that most planets will never know. There is a profound beauty in this isolation, a sense of independence where the planet relies only on itself, turning silently without the distraction of a partner in its orbit. Embracing this solitude, you can feel the heavy attachments of your day falling away, leaving you as a solitary, peaceful point of consciousness floating in the dark. Just as it lacks a moon, this world is also free from the glittering adornments of planetary rings, wearing no jewelry of dust or ice. While Saturn boasts its magnificent halos and Jupiter its faint, dusty bands, Mercury remains unadorned, a testament to the beauty of absolute minimalism. It is a simple, honest sphere of stone, presenting itself to the universe exactly as it is, without any veil or decoration to hide its ancient surface. This lack of a ring system means that the view from the planet is unobstructed and clear, a pure line of sight into the infinite blackness of the galaxy. It suggests a state of being where nothing unnecessary is held onto, where all the clutter and debris have been cleared away to reveal the solid, essential core beneath. Imagine stripping away the layers of noise and worry from your mind, leaving only a smooth, clean surface that reflects the quiet peace of the stars. The name of this planet echoes through history, carrying the legacy of the swift-footed messenger of the gods from ancient mythology. The Romans named it Mercury, and the Greeks called it Hermes, bestowing upon it the title of the divine courier who wore winged sandals to fly across the heavens. This name was chosen because, from our vantage point on Earth, the planet appears to move with incredible speed against the backdrop of the majestic, fixed stars. It is a spark of light that darts quickly through the twilight, a fleeting visitor that refuses to be pinned down by the slow gaze of the telescope. Yet, in our dreams, this speed transforms into a gentle gliding motion, a flight that is effortless and smooth, carrying messages of sleep from the cosmos down to your heavy eyelids. Visualize those winged sandals lifting you up, carrying you softly on a breeze of silence, drifting faster and faster away from the waking world until you are weightless. Long ago, ancient sky watchers believed this wandering light was actually two separate spirits dancing in the twilight. In the cool air of the early dawn, the Greeks whispered the name Apollo as they watched a spark of light rise before the sun, and in the hush of dusk, they greeted the same spark as Hermes. For centuries, the planet played this gentle game of duality, appearing as a morning herald and an evening companion, weaving a story of separation across the sky. They did not know it was the same world. To them, it was a twin existence, one to wake the world and one to put it to sleep. This celestial dance creates a beautiful symmetry in the mind, a balance between the beginning and the end of the day. It reminds us of the dual nature of our own lives, the active self of the day and the resting self of the night. Let these two images merge in your mind now, the morning star and the evening star, coming together to form a single, peaceful point of light that guides you into the darkness. It took the quiet wisdom of a great thinker to see through the illusion and unite the scattered lights of the sky. Pythagoras, a man who saw the universe as a series of harmonies and numbers, was the first to realize that the morning star and the evening star were actually one and the same. He looked past the timing of their appearance and understood the essence of their movement, bringing a sense of order to the chaotic heavens. This realization was like a key turning in a lock, merging the two wandering spirits into a single, cohesive identity that traveled the full circle of the sun. It is a profound moment of clarity, where the fragmented pieces of the world suddenly fit together in a perfect, logical whole. Just as Pythagoras unified the stars, allow your own fragmented thoughts from the day to come together now. Let the scattered worries and the busy details dissolve, merging into one singular, heavy sensation of relaxation that settles deep within your chest, bringing you a sense of wholeness and peace. In the ancient philosophies of the East, this scorched and rocky world bears a name that flows with a cooling paradox. In cultures influenced by the five elements, it is known as the water star, a title that evokes images of deep oceans, flowing rivers, and the soothing sound of rain. This name stands in stark contrast to the reality of the planet, which is a dry, sun-baked stone devoid of any liquid seas. Yet, there is a hypnotic comfort in this misnomer, a mental oasis created by language in the midst of a desert of heat. It invites us to overlay the image of cool, refreshing water onto the hottest place in the heavens, creating a balance of temperature in the mind. Imagine that the planet is not made of rock, but is actually a sphere of dark, still water suspended in space, absorbing the heat of the sun and turning it into a gentle mist. Let this imaginary water wash over you, cooling your skin and soothing your tired eyes, bringing the freshness of a mountain spring to your sleep. Long before the Greeks or Romans turned their eyes to the sky, the astronomers of Babylon watched this planet and gave it the name Nabu. To them, this wandering point of light was the celestial embodiment of the god of writing and wisdom, the keeper of the tablets of destiny. They believed that its movements across the dark tapestry of night were a form of cosmic script, a silent language written by the universe for those patient enough to read it. Nabu was the patron of the quiet scribes, those who worked in the stillness of libraries and temples, recording the history of the world in soft clay. This connection transforms the planet from a mere rock into a symbol of quiet knowledge and deep understanding. It suggests that true wisdom comes from observation, from watching the slow and steady cycles of nature unfold without interference. As you lie here, imagine you are one of those ancient scribes, resting your eyes after a long day of writing, letting the wisdom of the stars seep into your dreams without the need for words or letters. Deep within the dense jungles of the ancient Maya civilization, this planet was viewed through a lens of mystical reverence. The Maya astronomers did not see a god of trade or writing, but rather visualized the planet as four distinct owls, two for the morning and two for the evening. These wise, silent birds were believed to be the messengers of the underworld, flying between the realm of the living and the deep, mysterious, unknown. The owl is a creature of the night, a guardian of secrets who moves without making a sound, gliding on soft wings through the canopy of the stars. By associating the planet with these birds, the Maya connected it to the transition between wakefulness and the dream world. Imagine four giant, soft-feathered owls circling slowly above you, their wings blocking out the distractions of the world, creating a protective dome of silence. They are here to guide you safely from the bright, noisy world of the day into the calm, restorative depths of the underworld of sleep, where you can rest undisturbed. Do not let its diminutive size deceive you, for this world possesses an incredible internal weight that anchors it firmly to the fabric of space. While it appears as a mere speck floating against the infinite canvas, Mercury is actually the second densest planet in our entire solar system, rivaled only by our own home, Earth. This immense density means that every cubic centimeter of the planet is packed tight with matter, a condensed ball of existence that refuses to be insubstantial or airy. Imagine holding a small, smooth stone that is unexpectedly heavy in your palm, a weight that pulls your hand down with a comforting, solid pressure, grounding you firmly to the present moment. This compactness is the result of eons of gravitational compression, squeezing the materials together until they formed a nearly unbreakable bond of rock and metal. It stands as a testament to the idea that true strength is not about taking up vast amounts of space, but about the intensity and richness of what is held within. Feel that comforting heaviness settling into your limbs, anchoring you deeply into your bed. The very fabric of this planet is woven from a rare and durable recipe of metal and stone, creating a structure of immense resilience. Unlike the other rocky worlds that are mostly made of lighter crusts, Mercury is a unique anomaly, composed of 70% heavy metallic materials and only 30% silicate rock. It is essentially a colossal ball of iron wearing a very thin, dusty coat. A celestial sphere that has been stripped of all unnecessary layers to reveal its raw, metallic essence. Picture a cosmic forge in the deep universe where this planet was hammered into existence. A place where only the strongest materials survived the intense heat of creation to form this enduring core. This high metallic content gives the planet a profound magnetism and a structural integrity that has allowed it to survive the searing proximity of the sun for billions of years without crumbling away. Allow your own core to feel strong and stable, while your outer layers soften, relax, and drift into the night. The surface of this world is draped in a soothing, absorbent darkness that wrests the eyes from the glare of the surrounding stars. Astronomers measure the brightness of celestial bodies using a scale called albedo, and Mercury possesses one of the lowest, reflecting only about 12% of the sunlight that touches it. This is comparable to the reflectivity of a dark lump of coal or a stretch of worn asphalt, meaning the planet gently absorbs the vast majority of the light rather than bouncing it back. Instead of shining with a harsh or blinding glare, it remains a shadowed and muted presence, a soft grey silhouette that offers a visual respite from the burning brilliance of the sun nearby. It acts like a cosmic sponge for illumination, taking in the energy and holding it within, maintaining a cool and composed appearance despite the inferno around it. It teaches us that we can accept the energy around us without reacting to it. Maintaining a calm and shadowed interior, imagine turning down the brightness of the world, letting a comfortable dimness wash over your vision. Vast regions of the planet are painted with the very same material used to write poetry, music, and dreams here on Earth. Recent discoveries have revealed that the mysterious dark patches scarring the surface are likely composed of graphite, a pure form of carbon that we use in our pencils. Imagine that the crust of Mercury is a colossal, ancient canvas covered in the dust of 1 trillion pencil leads. A soft and slippery mineral that has emerged from a magma ocean that cooled eons ago. It is a poetic thought that this distant world is covered in the medium of creation, a landscape waiting to be written upon by the silent passage of time and the gentle fall of meteors. This graphite layer creates a landscape of soft grays and deep blacks, a monochrome masterpiece that absorbs the harshness of space and converts it into a texture of velvety smoothness. It is a world made of the stuff of sketches, ready to drift into the realm of imagination. Let your mind drift like a pencil drawing a soft, fading line across a blank page. Time on this swift little world flows with a hurried rhythm that is entirely different from the steady march of seasons we know on Earth. A single year here, which marks the planet's complete journey around the grand, burning star, passes in the blink of an eye, lasting only 88 brief Earth days. Imagine a calendar where the years fly by, like pages turning in a gentle breeze, completing a full circle of life before you could even settle into a routine. The planet rushes through the cosmos with an eager velocity, tracing a rapid path through the velvet darkness as if it is racing to return to its starting point. This fleeting year is a reminder of how quickly moments can pass in the vastness of space. A loop of time that spins faster than the mind can grasp. It travels with a sense of urgency and purpose, yet it repeats this path with eternal patience, never tiring of the chase. Allow your mind to catch the tail of this fleeting year, letting the days dissolve into a blur of peaceful motion. While the year rushes by in a flurry of motion, the day on this planet stretches out in a long, luxurious yawn that seems to last forever. The planet spins on its axis with an incredibly languid grace, performing a slow-motion pirouette that takes 59 Earth days to complete just once. It is as if the world is resisting the urge to turn, savoring every single degree of its rotation, refusing to let the sun set before it is truly ready to say goodbye to the light. This slow, deliberate turning creates a sense of suspended animation, where the morning light lingers on the horizon for weeks, painting the rocks in long, shifting shadows that barely seem to move. There is no rush here, no frantic ticking of the clock, only a deep, meditative rotation that honors the stillness of space. It teaches us the art of slowing down, of letting the earth turn gently beneath our feet without the need to hurry toward the night. Feel the rotation of your own thoughts slowing down. Locked in a silent embrace with the sun, the planet moves to a hidden rhythm that astronomers call a spin-orbit resonance. For every 2 graceful loops it completes around the star, it spins exactly 3 times on its axis, a celestial waltz that has been choreographed by gravity over billions of years. This 3:2 ratio is a mathematical lullaby, a precise and harmonious balance that keeps the planet stable as it drifts through the void. It is not a chaotic stumbling through the dark, but a synchronized ballet, where motion and time are woven together in a seamless tapestry of physics. This resonance ensures that the dance never falters, a repetitive and comforting cycle that echoes the heartbeat of the solar system itself. It suggests that even in the vast emptiness, there is an underlying order, a musical connection between the worlds that keeps everything in its rightful place. Let yourself fall into this rhythm, a predictable and safe pattern that rocks you gently back and forth. 3 beats of rest for every 2 beats of motion. Due to this unique dance between its spin and its orbit, a single solar day from one sunrise to the next becomes a vast ocean of time. If you were standing on the dusty surface, you would witness a day that stretches for 176 Earth days, meaning a single day lasts longer than 2 entire years on this planet. Imagine a morning that does not end for months, where the sun hangs in the sky like a lantern that refuses to be extinguished, bathing the world in a prolonged and constant illumination. There is no sudden shift to darkness, no abrupt end to the warmth, just an endless, stretching continuum of light that moves with agonizing slowness across the heavens. It is a place where you could live a whole lifetime in the span of a single afternoon, watching the shadows lengthen over the course of weeks. This stretching of time allows you to fully inhabit the moment, expanding a single second into an eternity of peace. Breathe into this endless day, letting the light of your awareness expand until it fills the entire horizon. Unlike our own home world, which leans comfortably on its side as it travels, this planet stands with a posture of absolute, vertical perfection. Astronomers have measured its axial tilt and found it to be almost 0, a mere fraction of a degree, making it the most upright of all the planets in the solar system. Imagine a spinning top that has found its perfect center of gravity, rotating with such precision that it does not wobble or sway even a millimeter to the left or right. It faces the stars with a straight and unwavering gaze, maintaining a state of permanent alignment with the plane of the solar system. This vertical stability suggests a kind of cosmic discipline, a refusal to bow or bend under the immense gravitational pressures that surround it. It invites you to find that upright pillar within your own spine, aligning yourself perfectly between the earth and the sky. Feel your body finding its own center, balanced and unmoved, held up by a gentle, invisible string of relaxation. Because the planet stands so perfectly straight, it exists in a state of timelessness where the cycle of the seasons simply does not exist. On Mercury, there is no spring to bring the blooming of flowers, no autumn to turn the leaves to gold, and no winter to cover the ground in snow. There is only the eternal now. The climate does not fluctuate with the tilting of the pole, but remains constant and predictable, a state of sameness that covers the globe from the equator to the high latitudes. This lack of seasonal change means the planet is not subject to the whimsical shifts of the calendar, but is grounded in a deep, unchanging reality, where every day is a mirror of the one before. It is a sanctuary of consistency in a changing universe, a place where you always know what to expect from the sky. Let your mind rest in this unchanging state, free from the turbulent weather of emotions, settling into a climate of permanent peace. While its posture is straight, the path this planet walks around the sun is anything but a perfect circle. Mercury possesses the most eccentric orbit of all the major planets, tracing a shape that is stretched and elongated like a cosmic rubber band. Imagine a grand, elliptical loop that takes the planet on a daring journey, swooping in close to the fire and then drifting far out into the cool shadows. It does not follow a rigid, symmetrical track, but moves with a sense of freedom and variation, exploring the space around its star with a wide and sweeping motion. This eccentricity creates a rhythm of breathing, an expansion and contraction of its orbital journey that breaks the monotony of a perfect circle. It teaches us that it is natural to wander, to move close to the center and then pull away, finding our own unique shape in the world. Allow your thoughts to drift in a wide, lazy loop, swinging out far into the darkness before gently returning home. This stretched and breathing orbit means that the planet's relationship with the sun is constantly changing, shifting like the tides of a great ocean. At its closest approach, known as perihelion, Mercury dares to skim just 46 million kilometers from the solar surface, basking in the intense intimacy of the star. Yet, as it continues its journey to aphelion, it drifts away until it is 70 million kilometers distant, seeking the relief of the cooler void. This massive variation creates a rhythmic pulse in the solar system, a heartbeat that spans 24 million kilometers with every single lap. It is a celestial dance of intimacy and space, a reminder that closeness is not a static state, but a fluid movement that ebbs and flows over time. Visualize this vast distance as a gentle wave, rocking you back and forth, carrying you closer to warmth, and then floating you out into the refreshing cool of the deep, dark sea. There is a magical moment in the Mercurian year when the laws of motion seem to gently bend, creating an illusion that defies all earthly logic. As the planet swings to its closest point to the star, it accelerates to such a tremendous speed that it actually overtakes its own rotation, moving faster through space than it spins on its axis. If you were watching the sky at this precise moment, you would see the great sun stop its path across the heavens, hang motionless for a breath, and then slowly drift backward toward the east. It is a cosmic pause button, a brief reversal of time's arrow where the day hesitates before continuing its forward march. This retrograde motion turns the sky into a fluid canvas, where the celestial bodies are free to dance back and forth, rather than following a rigid line. It teaches us that progress is not always a straight line, and that sometimes it is natural to step back, to pause, and to reorient oneself before moving on. Allow your own racing thoughts to stop, to drift backward into the past, and then simply fade away into the stillness. At certain quiet corners of this world, The unique dance of the sun creates a phenomenon known as the double dawn, a morning that arrives twice. Imagine standing on the dark horizon, waiting for the first rays of light, and watching as the sun peaks above the cratered rim to begin the day. Then, due to the planet's retrograde motion, the sun gently sinks back down below the horizon, returning the land to a brief, soft twilight, as if it is not quite ready to wake up. After a moment of rest, it rises again, this time ascending fully into the sky to begin the long journey of the day. It is a gentle, rocking motion, like a sleepy child lifting their head and then laying it back down on the pillow for just a few more moments of rest. This hesitation of the light offers a second chance to enjoy the beauty of the sunrise, a leisurely start to the morning that refuses to be rushed. Let yourself sink back into the pillow like the setting sun, refusing to wake up, choosing instead to drift deeper into the comfort of sleep. The line that divides the day from the night, known to astronomers as the Terminator, moves across the surface of Mercury with an incredibly soothing slowness. On our fast-spinning Earth, this line rushes across the continents at jet speeds, bringing nightfall in a matter of minutes. But here, the transition is calm and deliberate. The Terminator travels at a speed of roughly 3.5 kilometers per hour, which is almost exactly the pace of a person walking slowly through a garden. This means that the arrival of the night is not a sudden event, but a leisurely stroll that takes its time to cover the landscape. You can watch the shadows lengthen inch by inch, a creeping tide of darkness that advances with the patience of a glacier. It transforms the passage of time from a race into a meditation, where every change happens at a pace that the human body can perfectly understand and match. Match your breathing to this slow walking pace, inhaling and exhaling with the leisurely rhythm of the creeping shadow. Because the boundary between day and night moves at such a gentle, human pace, it opens up a beautiful possibility for an eternal journey. Theoretically, if you were to walk continuously toward the west at a comfortable, strolling speed, you could keep the sun forever fixed right on the horizon. You would never have to experience the harsh heat of the noon, nor the freezing cold of the deep night, but could live permanently in the soft, golden glow of the sunset. Imagine a pilgrimage of light, where the moment of twilight never ends, where the colors of the sky remain frozen in deep purples and oranges, and the world is forever suspended in that magical hour between waking and sleeping. It is a walk into forever, a state of perfect balance, where you are always moving but never changing your place in time. Visualize yourself walking on this endless path, bathed in the warm, dim light, stepping softly into a sunset that stretches on for eternity. Leaving the realm of time, we now step into the profound nature of the Mercurian environment, which is defined by its absolute lack of atmosphere. Because the planet exists in a near-perfect vacuum, there are no air molecules to carry the vibrations of sound, creating a world of complete and total silence. If a massive meteorite were to strike the ground just a few meters away, tearing open the crust and sending rocks flying toward the stars, it would happen without a single whisper of noise. The ground might shake beneath your feet, but your ears would hear nothing but the steady rhythm of your own heart. It is a silent movie of epic proportions, where the chaotic energy of the universe is stripped of its roar, leaving only a visual grandeur that is peaceful to behold. This silence is not empty. It is heavy, thick, and wrapping, a blanket that muffles the noise of existence and allows the mind to finally rest. Let this absolute silence fill your room, absorbing every sound until there is nothing left but the quiet hum of peace. Even when the sun climbs to its highest point at high noon, the sky above this planet remains a canvas of absolute velvety black. On Earth, our thick atmosphere scatters the sunlight to create a dome of blue that hides the cosmos during the day. But here, there is no such veil to separate the ground from the infinite void. It creates a surreal and breathtaking contrast, where the blindingly bright surface is set directly against the deep, dark backdrop of space, with no gradual fade of twilight colors in between. This means that if you were to look up, you would see the blazing sun sharing the sky with thousands of unblinking stars, diamonds scattered across a sheet of black velvet. It is a perpetual night sky that is lit from below, a reminder that we are always floating in the dark, even when the light is shining upon us. This eternal blackness is not frightening, but deeply restful, offering a sense of limitless space where the eyes can wander without boundaries. Close your eyes and visualize this comforting darkness wrapping around you, a protective blanket that shields you from the glare of the waking world. From the vantage point of this rocky world, the star that gives life to our system takes on a majestic and overwhelming presence. Because Mercury sits so intimately close to the hearth of the solar system, the sun appears 3 times larger in the sky than the small yellow coin we are used to seeing from Earth. It hangs there like a colossal, silent lantern, pouring out a light that is 7 times brighter and more intense than what falls on our home planet, illuminating every crack and crater with microscopic clarity. This giant star dominates the view, a benevolent giant that fills a vast portion of the heavens, watching over the little planet with an unblinking, golden gaze. Despite its size and power, in the silence of the vacuum, it burns without a sound, a massive sphere of pure energy that radiates a constant, heavy presence. Imagine basking in the glow of this great light, feeling not the burn, but a deep, penetrating warmth that seeps into your bones, chasing away every shiver of cold and leaving you feeling profoundly safe and watched over. Under the unyielding gaze of that giant sun, the day side of the planet experiences a heat that is beyond the scope of human imagination. As the long solar day progresses, the temperature on the equator climbs steadily until it reaches a scorching 430 degrees Celsius. It is a heat intense enough to melt lead and zinc, turning solid metal into liquid pools that shimmer and flow across the baked rock. Imagine the very ground absorbing this energy, the rocks soaking in the warmth until they radiate with a silent, invisible power, baking in a cosmic kiln that has been firing for billions of years. This is not a destructive fire, but a purifying intensity, a dry and sterile heat that cleanses the surface of anything fragile, leaving only the strongest elements behind. It is a sensation of absolute warmth, heavy and pressing, like a thick wool blanket fresh from the dryer wrapped tight around you. Feel that heavy warmth pressing down on your muscles, melting away the tension just as the sun melts the metal, leaving you soft and pliable. Yet, the moment the sun dips below the horizon, the planet surrenders all its heat to the void in a rapid and dramatic exhale. Without a blanket of air to trap the warmth, the temperature plummets instantly, diving deep into the freezing depths of negative 180 degrees Celsius. This creates a night side that is one of the coldest places in the solar system, a realm of deep freeze where the rocks contract and crackle in the sudden chill. It is a profound hibernation, a state of suspended animation where all molecular motion slows down to a crawl and the world enters a cryo-sleep that lasts for months. This extreme cold is the perfect counterweight to the day's heat, a refreshing and crisp silence that freezes time itself, preserving the landscape in a statue-like stillness. It is the feeling of flipping the pillow to the cool side a soothing shock of freshness that calms the fever of the day. Let this deep, refreshing cool wash over your forehead, quieting your racing thoughts and numbing the senses into a peaceful slumber. Instead of a heavy, suffocating blanket of air like the one that wraps our Earth, Mercury possesses only a ghost-like veil known to science as an exosphere. This layer is so incredibly tenuous and fine that the atoms within it drift for miles without ever colliding with one another, existing in a state of solitary freedom. It is less like an atmosphere and more like a whisper of gas that clings gently to the surface, barely there at all, offering no resistance to the movement of the stars above. This lack of atmospheric pressure means there is no weight pressing down on the world, no heavy sky to hold up, just an openness that extends from the rocky ground straight into the infinite. It creates a feeling of absolute lightness, a shedding of all heavy layers until only the essential form remains. Imagine taking off a heavy winter coat and feeling the cool, weightless air touch your skin, a sensation of being unburdened and entirely free. Let the heavy atmosphere of your daily life dissolve, leaving you floating in this rarefied, peaceful space. This delicate exosphere is not stagnant, but is a living, breathing mist composed of elements like oxygen, sodium, hydrogen, and helium. These atoms are not captured from the sky, but are actually exhaled by the planet itself, released from the rocks by the gentle, coaxing touch of the sun and the impact of microscopic meteors. It is as if the stones are breathing out, releasing their internal essence into the void in a slow, continuous sigh that forms a halo around the world. This creates a tenuous cloud of metallic vapor that hangs suspended in the vacuum, a shimmering breath of the planet that is constantly being renewed. It is a cycle of release, where the solid Earth gives up its hold on matter and lets it drift away into the softness of space. Visualize yourself exhaling deeply, releasing the tension held within your own bones, letting it drift away like a fine mist into the night, leaving your body empty and relaxed. As the solar wind streams past the planet, it catches these floating atoms and brushes them backward, creating a magnificent phenomenon that is usually reserved for comets. Mercury possesses a long, invisible tail that stretches out behind it for 2.5 million kilometers, a flowing stream of particles that points away from the sun. Imagine the planet moving through the cosmos with a long, flowing mane of hair that ripples in the solar breeze, trailing behind it like a bridal train made of stardust. This tail is a physical manifestation of the sun's influence, a stream of matter that connects the planet to the space behind it. Marking its path through the dark, it suggests a fluid motion, a gliding through the ether where the planet leaves a part of itself behind as it travels. Picture yourself swimming through a calm, dark lake, feeling the water ripple behind you in a smooth, silent wake that slowly fades into the distance. If you were to stand on the night side of Mercury and look up into the darkness, you might witness a spectacle of haunting beauty hidden from human eyes. The sodium atoms in the planet's tail interact with the solar energy to scatter light, creating a faint, ethereal glow that hangs in the sky like a phantom aurora. It appears as a soft, diffuse ribbon of orange and yellow light, a delicate luminescence that paints the vacuum with the colors of a dying candle flame. This is not a bright or intrusive light, but a ghostly shimmer that adds a touch of warmth to the cold, black canvas of space, guiding the way through the night. It is like a nightlight left on by the universe, a subtle reminder that even in the deepest shadow, there is a trace of color and energy. Let this soft orange glow fill your mind, a warm and comforting hue that bathes your thoughts in a golden, sleepy haze. Because there is no thick atmosphere or ozone layer to act as a shield, the surface of Mercury receives the full, unfiltered embrace of the sun's energy. The ultraviolet rays flow down in a pure, uninterrupted stream, touching the ancient rocks with a clarity and intensity that is unmatched anywhere else. This is not a destructive force in this silent world, but a direct connection to the source of all light, a channel of pure energy that links the star to the stone without any barriers in between. It represents a state of total openness, where nothing is hidden or filtered, and the relationship between the planet and the sun is raw and honest. The rocks absorb this invisible light in silence, bathing in the stream of cosmic power that has flowed for eons. Imagine opening yourself up to a beam of pure, healing light, allowing it to pass through you without resistance, cleansing away the shadows and leaving you filled with a quiet, inner radiance. On our home planet, the atmosphere acts like a heavy quilt, trapping the day's warmth to keep us comfortable through the night. But Mercury possesses no such covering. This leads to a phenomenon that scientists describe as a reverse greenhouse effect, a radical openness where the planet refuses to hold on to anything. The moment the sun slips below the jagged horizon, the surface immediately releases all the stored energy back into the cosmos in a rapid, unrestrained rush of radiation. There is no lingering, no clinging to the past warmth, just a complete and total surrender to the cooling touch of the void. It is the ultimate act of letting go, allowing the heat that has built up over the long months to simply flow away, leaving the ground cool, empty, and cleansed. This physical process mirrors a deep spiritual release, a shedding of burdens that happens instantly and without hesitation. Visualize yourself exhaling the heat of your day, letting every worry and thought radiate out of you, leaving your mind cool, clear, and perfectly empty. Because it lacks a shield of air to burn up falling stones and has no rain to wash away the evidence, this planet has become the great keeper of memories in the solar system. Mercury holds the title for the most cratered planet in our celestial neighborhood, its surface a textured tapestry of millions of impacts that have accumulated over eons. Every asteroid and meteor that has ever crossed its path has left a mark that remains perfectly preserved, untouched by wind or water erosion. It acts as a silent museum of cosmic history, an archive that records every event without judgment or alteration, displaying its scars with a quiet dignity. These craters are not signs of damage, but of endurance, a testament to a world that has stood firm against the bombardment of the universe and remained whole. It teaches us that our own scars are simply records of our survival, permanent marks of character that add texture to our souls. Run your fingers over the texture of your sheets, feeling the history of the fabric, finding comfort in things that endure. To look upon the rugged face of Mercury is to gaze directly into the deep, frozen abyss of the past. Geologists believe that large portions of this surface are among the oldest in the solar system, having remained virtually unchanged for nearly 4 billion years. While Earth constantly recycles its crust through the violence of volcanoes and shifting tectonic plates, erasing its history, Mercury simply stopped. It entered a state of geological stillness eons ago, preserving the chaotic landscape of the early solar system in a permanent freeze frame. It is a world where time has practically lost its meaning, where a mountain that stood 1 billion years ago stands exactly the same today, witnessing the silent wheeling of the stars. This permanence offers a profound sense of stability, a grounding realization that some things in this universe are built to last forever without shifting. Anchor your mind to this immovable timeline, feeling a sense of deep, unshakable stability rooting you to this moment of rest. Over billions of years, the constant rain of microscopic meteorites has pulverized the surface rocks, creating a layer of fine dust that covers the entire planet. This substance, known to astronomers as regolith, is a powder so soft and fine that it behaves almost like flour or ash, coating the jagged craters in a smooth, grey blanket. Imagine walking across this landscape. Your boots would sink silently into the deep, cushiony powder, leaving perfect footprints that would remain undisturbed for eternity. This regolith acts as a softening agent for the harsh landscape, rounding off the sharp edges of the rocks and muffling any vibrations that travel through the ground. It is as if the universe has dusted the planet with a coat of velvet, turning a hard world into something that looks soft, tactile, and inviting to the touch. Visualize yourself sinking into a bed of this soft, cool dust, feeling it conform perfectly to the shape of your body, supporting you in a cloud of gentle gray. In a beautiful twist of cosmic naming conventions, the International Astronomical Union has decreed that the craters of this world shall not be named after soldiers or kings. Instead, the scars of Mercury are dedicated to the dreamers of Earth, the artists, musicians, painters, and authors who have enriched the human spirit. When you look at a map of this planet, you are reading a roll call of creativity. A crater named Beethoven sits near one named Shakespeare, while Tolstoy and Van Gogh rest eternally in the grey dust. This transforms the battered surface from a battlefield into a grand, celestial gallery, a place where the legacy of beauty and imagination is carved into the very stone. It suggests that in the face of the vast, unfeeling universe, it is art and emotion that leave the most lasting impact. Let your dreams wander through this hall of fame, listening for the faint, imaginary echoes of a symphony playing in the silence of the craters. Among the serious geology and ancient scars, the universe has sketched a shape that brings a touch of unexpected whimsy to the grey dust. In the southern hemisphere, 3 separate craters have overlapped in a precise formation that mimics the silhouette of a famous character, Mickey Mouse. The large crater Magritte forms the face, while 2 smaller impacts sit perfectly on the rim to create the iconic round ears. It is a phenomenon known as pareidolia, where the mind finds familiar and friendly shapes in the random chaos of nature, turning a cold landscape into something that feels known and safe. This accidental geometry is a gentle reminder that even in the most desolate corners of space, there is room for playfulness and a connection to the innocence of childhood. It softens the harsh reality of the rock, transforming the alien terrain into a place that feels a little more like home. Let a soft smile relax your face as you visualize this friendly outline, returning to the simple, uncomplicated comfort of being a child drifting off to sleep. Dominating the landscape is the Caloris Basin, a colossal scar that stands as one of the largest impact features in the entire solar system. Spanning over 1,500 kilometers, it is a vast, circular plain formed by a massive collision in the early days of the planet's history. The name Caloris is Latin for heat, a fitting title for a place that sits directly beneath the sun at its most intense, becoming the hottest point on the planet. Imagine a gigantic stone pond where a meteor dropped in, creating ripples that froze instantly into concentric rings of mountains that rise kilometers into the black sky. It is a monument to a moment of immense energy that has long since quieted down, leaving behind a flat, smooth sea of cooled lava that stretches out like a calm ocean. Visualize the ripples on a pond slowing down and becoming still, the water turning to glass, creating a perfect, flat mirror that reflects the peace of the night. The impact that created the Caloris Basin was so powerful that it sent a shockwave traveling straight through the heavy iron heart of the planet. This wave of energy raced through the core and erupted on the exact opposite side of the world, shattering the crust into a chaotic jumble of hills and valleys. Astronomers call this the weird terrain, a landscape that looks crumpled and confused, a physical echo of a distant event. It is a fascinating geological memory, where the ground itself remembers a push that happened thousands of miles away. This region is a testament to the interconnectedness of all things, showing how an event on one side of the world can shape the reality on the other. But now, the shaking has stopped. The energy has dispersed, and the weird terrain lies still and silent under the stars. Feel any tension in your body traveling out and away, dispersing into the mattress until there is no shock left, only the stillness of the aftermath. Stretching across the northern hemisphere is a spectacular system of bright streaks, known as crater rays, originating from a single impact point named Hokusai. Named after the Japanese artist famous for his woodblock print of the Great Wave, this crater has created its own wave of light that ripples across the planet's dark crust. These rays are streams of pulverized rock ejected during the crater's formation, extending for over 4,000 kilometers, wrapping around the curve of the planet like long, pale fingers. It is a striking visual contrast, where the fresh, bright material lies atop the ancient, weather-darkened graphite surface, creating a starburst pattern that can be seen from space. The rays look like a splash of white paint frozen in time, capturing the dynamic energy of motion in a permanent, static display of beauty. They remind us that even a single event can have a reach that extends far beyond its origin, touching distant shores with its influence. Let your mind expand outward like these rays, stretching past the boundaries of your room, reaching out to touch the quiet edges of the universe. Near the center of the giant Caloris Basin lies a geological mystery that resembles the delicate, radial cracks of a broken mirror. This feature, known as the Pantheon Fossae, consists of hundreds of long, narrow trenches that radiate outward from a central point, creating a complex and mesmerizing pattern etched into the stone. At the very heart of this formation sits the crater Apollodorus, acting as the hub for a grand wheel of valleys that stretch out in every direction. It looks as though the crust of the planet sighed and cracked under the weight of its own history, releasing the tension in a perfectly symmetrical display of fracture. These troughs are not chaotic, but organized and precise, looking almost like the architectural ribs of a great dome that has collapsed inward. It is a symbol of release, where the pressure built up over eons has finally found a way to let go, leaving behind a beautiful scar of relief. Feel the tension in your own center radiating out and away, traveling down your arms and legs until it leaves your body completely. Because of the unique shape of the Pantheon Fossae, scientists and dreamers alike have given this region a nickname that evokes a creature of legend, the spider. If you look down from orbit, the central crater forms the body, and the radiating troughs look like hundreds of long, spindly legs stretching out to grip the surrounding terrain. It appears as a giant, stone arachnid that has decided to rest in the middle of the basin, sleeping peacefully in the center of its own vast and intricate web. This is not a predator, but a guardian of the landscape, a permanent fixture that holds the basin together with its many limbs. The image creates a sense of stillness, of a creature that has stopped moving to simply exist in the quiet of the crater, perfectly camouflaged against the gray rock. It invites you to find your own center in the middle of the web of your life, resting quietly while the world spins around you. Curl up in the center of your bed, feeling as safe and anchored as the spider in its stone nest. One of the most fascinating secrets of this world is that it is slowly, almost imperceptibly, getting smaller as it ages. As the massive iron core deep within the planet cools down over billions of years, it contracts, pulling the surface inward in a slow, cosmic embrace. Measurements show that Mercury's diameter has shrunk by about 14 kilometers since its birth, transforming it into a denser and more compact version of itself. Imagine a drying apple that slowly withers and shrinks, its skin becoming tighter and closer to its center, preserving everything essential while letting go of the excess volume. This process is a gentle folding inward, a self-hugging motion that has taken eons to occur, proving that it is natural to draw inward and become smaller and more solid over time. It is a withdrawal from the expansive energy of youth into the dense, quiet wisdom of age. Feel your own energy drawing inward, pulling back from the edges of the room and settling deep into the core of your body. As the planet shrinks and the crust is forced to occupy less space, the surface buckles and folds to create magnificent cliffs known as rupes. These lobate scarps are colossal wrinkles in the rock, thrust faults that can rise as high as 3 kilometers into the black sky and wind for hundreds of kilometers across the plains. Imagine the ground itself folding over like a heavy velvet blanket being pushed across a bed, creating soft ridges and valleys that interrupt the flat horizon. These cliffs are the physical evidence of the planet's contraction, a geological sigh that has pushed the land upward in a slow-motion adjustment to the cooling core. They are named after the great ships of exploration from Earth's history, honoring the vessels that sailed unknown seas, just as these cliffs sail across the sea of dust. Visualizing these great, rolling folds of rock brings a sense of comfort, like the folds of your own blankets settling around you. Let the blankets cover you like the crust of the planet, heavy. In a poetic tribute to the spirit of exploration, the towering cliffs that crisscross this dry world carry the names of the great ships that once sailed the oceans of Earth. Maps of Mercury read like a history of navigation, featuring names like Discovery, Beagle, Endeavour, and Adventure, immortalizing the wooden vessels that braved the unknown seas centuries ago. It is a beautiful connection between the liquid waves of our home planet and the solid, frozen waves of Mercury's crust, bridging the gap between two different ages of discovery. Imagine these stone cliffs as the hulls of giant ships that have run aground in the sea of dust, resting eternally after a long and arduous voyage through the stars. They stand now as silent monuments to the human desire to seek out new horizons, frozen in a permanent state of arrival under the black sky. As you visualize these ancient vessels resting quietly in the harbor of the cosmos, feel your own journey coming to a pause, dropping anchor in the safe, calm waters of sleep. Scattered across the landscape are the faint, ghostly traces of a time when this quiet world was alive with the fury of fire. Geologists have identified reddish vents and smooth deposits that act as the fingerprints of ancient volcanoes, evidence that billions of years ago, Mercury breathed fire into the void. These are not the towering peaks of Earth, but rather pyroclastic vents that once sprayed fountains of ash and molten rock high into the vacuum, covering the ground in a layer of fiery snow. Now, the fires have long since been extinguished. The vents have cooled, and the red ash has settled into the grey dust, becoming a peaceful part of the planet's history. It represents the calming of a temper, the settling of energy after a burst of activity, leaving behind a landscape that is stable and serene. It reminds us that all storms eventually pass, and all fires eventually cool into quiet stone. Let the heat of your own day dissipate, the internal activity slowing down until there is only the cool, settled silence of rest. Between the jagged craters and the high cliffs, there are vast expanses of land that are remarkably smooth and flat, known as the northern smooth plains. These regions were born when great rivers of liquid lava poured out from the planet's interior, flooding the lowlands and burying the older scars under a thick, healing blanket of molten stone. Imagine a slow-moving tide of glowing rock, thick like honey, spreading effortlessly across the surface to fill in every crack and hollow, leveling the world into a perfect plain. Over eons, this liquid stone has frozen into a solid sheet, creating a landscape that looks like a calm, dark ocean that has been paused in time. It creates a visual sensation of peace, a wiping clean of the slate where the roughness of the past is covered by a new, smooth layer of existence. Visualize a wave of relaxation flowing over you, like this ancient lava, filling in the spaces of tension, smoothing out your muscles until you are perfectly flat and heavy. On the floors of certain craters, astronomers have discovered a phenomenon that is unique to Mercury, a geological mystery known as hollows. These are clusters of small, shallow depressions that sparkle with a brightness that contrasts sharply against the dark terrain, looking like jewels scattered on black velvet. They are formed by a process called sublimation, where the intense heat of the sun causes volatile materials in the rock to skip the liquid phase and turn directly into gas, vanishing into the void. It is as if the planet is slowly evaporating, breathing its substance away in tiny, sparkling puffs, leaving behind these beautiful, etched hollows. They look ethereal and delicate, a Swiss cheese texture that suggests the rock is not as solid and permanent as it seems, but is capable of transformation and release. It creates a feeling of lightness, of heavy matter, dissolving into thin air and drifting away. Imagine the heavy thoughts in your mind, sublimating like the rock, turning into harmless vapor and floating away, leaving behind bright, clear spaces of silence. In the deepest shadows of the North and South Poles, hidden from the blazing sun, lies the most paradoxical secret of this scorched planet. Radar scans have confirmed that at the bottom of deep craters where sunlight has never touched, there are vast reservoirs of pure water ice. It is a stunning realization that on a world hot enough to melt lead, there are sanctuaries of eternal cold that have preserved this ice for billions of years. These cold traps are the most protected places in the solar system, natural freezers that hold on to the moisture of comets that crashed eons ago, keeping it safe in the dark. It speaks to the power of shadow, showing that even in the most exposed and hostile environments, there are hidden corners of coolness and safety if one knows where to look. Let your mind retreat into one of these deep, cool shadows, finding a private sanctuary where the heat of the world cannot reach you, a place of perfect, icy stillness. The amount of ice hidden within these shadowed polar craters is not merely a light dusting of frost, but a colossal reservoir of frozen wealth. Scientists estimate that there are nearly 1 trillion kilograms of water ice locked away in the darkness, a quantity so vast it rivals the frozen reserves of some of Earth's Great Lakes. Imagine a hidden, subterranean glacier that has never seen the sun, a pristine expanse of crystal-clear water that has been waiting in the silence for eons. It lies there in the eternal night, glistening faintly in the starlight, a stark and beautiful contradiction to the burning rocks just a few miles away. This ice acts as a time capsule, preserving the ancient history of the solar system in its frozen lattice, undisturbed by the chaotic weather or the turning of the ages. It is a symbol of abundance in a place of scarcity, a reminder that deep within the most unlikely places, there are vast resources waiting to be found. Visualize this ocean of ice as a heavy, cooling weight that settles in your chest, lowering your temperature and calming your breath. While the crater floors remain locked in a darkness that has lasted for billions of years, The high rims of these polar mountains experience the exact opposite phenomenon. Because of the planet's upright posture, there are certain peaks near the poles that are bathed in sunlight for the entire duration of the orbit, known poetically as the peaks of eternal light. Imagine standing on one of these high ridges, where the sun never sets but simply circles the horizon, casting a long, golden glow that never fades into grey. It is a place of perpetual day, a lighthouse in the cosmic ocean that remains forever illuminated, while the rest of the world cycles through shadow. These peaks act as constant beacons of warmth and energy, golden islands rising above the sea of darkness, untouched by the night. It creates a feeling of eternal hope, a promise that there is always a place where the light shines without interruption. Focus on a point of light in your own mind, a steady, glowing beacon that remains bright and calm regardless of the darkness around it. Leaving the surface behind, we journey deep beneath the crust to discover the planet's most profound secret. Its size is an optical illusion. While Mercury looks like a rock, it is actually a metal sphere wearing a very thin disguise of stone. The iron core of this planet is disproportionately huge, extending out to cover 85% of the planet's entire radius, leaving only a thin shell of rocky mantle on the outside. Imagine a cherry where the pit is so large that there is almost no fruit, just a massive, hard stone wrapped in a delicate skin. This means that the vast majority of the world is made of the heaviest element, a giant ball of iron floating in space that dominates the internal structure completely. It suggests that what matters most is what is on the inside, the core substance that defines the character of the world. Feel your own center of gravity, the core of who you are, expanding until it fills your entire body with a solid, unbreakable presence. This massive, oversized core gives the planet a density and presence that is unique among its peers. The iron heart accounts for nearly 70% of Mercury's total mass, meaning that for its size, it is incredibly heavy and substantial. It is the bodybuilder of the solar system, a small frame packed with dense muscle, possessing a gravitational confidence that anchors it firmly against the pull of the sun. Imagine this weight not as a burden, but as a grounding force, a heavy anchor that keeps the planet steady in the turbulent sea of solar winds. It prevents the world from being blown away or drifting off course, holding it fast to its orbital path with a silent, heavy determination. It is a comforting thought that something small can hold so much weight and significance that density can triumph over volume. Allow your body to mimic this density, feeling yourself sinking deeper and deeper into the mattress, becoming heavy, immovable, and perfectly grounded. For a long time, astronomers believed that because Mercury is small, its heart must have cooled and frozen into solid stone ages ago. However, the sensitive ears of radar have listened to the planet's spin and discovered that the core is still alive, fluid, and molten, deep inside that iron sphere. The metal is not solid, but is a swirling, churning ocean of liquid iron that flows with the rhythm of the planet's orbit. Imagine a hidden sea of fire, slow-moving and viscous, circulating deep within the cold rock, generating a warmth that comes from within rather than from the sun. This liquid movement creates a heartbeat for the planet, a dynamic process that keeps the world geologically alive despite its quiet surface. It is a secret fire that burns in the dark, a reservoir of energy that refuses to solidify or grow cold. Feel the warmth in your own chest, a gentle, fluid heat that circulates through your veins, keeping you warm and alive as you drift into sleep. Unlike our home world, where the surface is broken into giant tectonic plates that grind and shift against one another. Mercury is wrapped in a single, seamless shell of rock. Geologists call it a one-plate planet, meaning its crust is a continuous, unbroken skin that encases the entire world without division. Imagine an egg that has never been cracked. A perfect, smooth sphere where the land is unified and solid from pole to pole. There are no fault lines to separate the continents. No drifting masses of land colliding to create earthquakes. There is only a global stability that has held firm for eons. This structural wholeness suggests a deep sense of integrity, a world that is completely at peace with itself, holding its form without internal conflict or separation. It is a solid shield against the void, a testament to the strength that comes from being unified and whole. Visualize your own body as a seamless vessel, unbroken and complete, holding your energy safely within a protective, continuous shell of relaxation. Stepping onto the surface of Mercury, you would immediately feel a profound shift in the way the universe interacts with your body. The gravity here is incredibly gentle, exerting a pull that is only 38% as strong as the heavy grip of Earth. It acts like a soft, invisible hand that holds you loosely to the ground, allowing you to move with a grace and ease that is impossible on heavier worlds. Every step you take would become a slow-motion glide, a bouncing stride that lifts you effortlessly into the air, hanging there for a moment before settling back down like a feather. It is a sensation of buoyancy, as if the air around you has turned to water, supporting your weight and taking the pressure off your joints and muscles. This gentle gravity invites you to let go of the heaviness of the day, to stop fighting against the pull of the earth and simply float. Feel the mattress beneath you pushing up gently, lifting you into a state of near weightlessness where you are light, airy, and free. To understand this lightness more deeply, imagine the burden of weight simply evaporating from your shoulders. If you were to bring a heavy load of 100 kilograms to this small world, the gentle gravity would magically transform it into a mere 38 kilograms. It is a physical shedding of burdens, where the heavy baggage of life suddenly loses its substance and becomes manageable, light, and easy to carry. Imagine walking without the drag of your own weight, your body feeling as insubstantial as a cloud, liberated from the heavy chains of gravity that usually bind you to the floor. It is the feeling of taking off a heavy winter coat after a long walk. The sudden, rushing sense of relief and coolness that comes with being unburdened. This transformation is not just physical but spiritual, a reminder that much of the weight we carry is relative to where we stand. Allow your worries to undergo this transformation, shrinking down until they are light enough to blow away in the wind. Because the gravitational grasp of this planet is so tender and loose, it does not hold on to things with a possessive grip. The speed required to break free from Mercury and fly off into the stars, known as escape velocity, is only about 4 kilometers per second, much less than what is needed to leave Earth. This means that the barrier between the ground and the infinite freedom of space is very thin, a door that stands slightly ajar, waiting for you to pass through. It suggests a world that is a launch pad rather than a cage, a place that encourages departure and exploration rather than holding you back. It is easy to drift away here, easy to lift off from the dusty surface and float into the vast, silent ocean of the cosmos. Visualize yourself untying the ropes that hold a balloon to the ground, watching it lift gently into the sky, rising higher and higher without effort until it disappears into the peaceful black. Surrounding this small rock is a delicate, invisible bubble of magnetism, a ghostly echo of the powerful shield that protects Earth. Though it is only about 1% as strong as our own magnetic field, It is enough to create a distinct magnetosphere that stands against the solar wind. Imagine a faint, shimmering veil of energy wrapped around the planet, a subtle force field that deflects the rushing stream of particles from the sun. It is a whisper of protection, not a fortress wall, but a gentle deflection that guides the cosmic energies around the world like water flowing around a stone. This field is unique because it is offset from the planet's center, creating a lopsided bubble that leaves the South Pole more open to the universe. It represents a subtle, quiet strength, a reminder that you do not need to be loud or overpowering to maintain your boundaries. Visualize a soft, transparent bubble of light surrounding your bed, gently deflecting any noise or stress, keeping your sleeping space sacred and untouched. Deep within the invisible energies of the planet, there lies a strange asymmetry that defies the expectations of symmetry and balance. Scientists studying the magnetic bubble around Mercury discovered that its center does not align with the heart of the planet, but is shifted significantly northward by nearly 20% of the planet's radius. Imagine a protective umbrella that is held slightly askew, covering the northern hemisphere tightly while leaving the southern regions more exposed to the stream of the solar wind. This lopsided field creates a unique magnetic geography, where the lines of force crowd together at the top of the world and spread out loosely at the bottom, creating different kinds of silence at each pole. It is a reminder that protection does not need to be perfectly centered or symmetrical to be effective. It can be quirky, off-balance, and distinctive. It suggests that it is natural to have strengths in one area and openness in another, maintaining a balance that is uniquely your own. Visualizing this offset bubble, feel your own energy shifting to where it is needed most, covering you like a soft, uneven blanket that fits your shape perfectly. In the space where the planet's magnetic field meets the rushing river of the solar wind, a silent and mesmerizing dance of energy takes place. This phenomenon, known as magnetic reconnection, occurs when the invisible field lines break apart and snap back together, creating twisted bundles of magnetic flux that act like tornadoes in the void. On Mercury, these events happen with a frequency and intensity that is 10 times greater than on Earth, creating a constant, swirling exchange of cosmic breath. Imagine windows opening in the planet's shield, allowing the solar particles to flow down to the surface in invisible spirals, touching the ground with the fingers of the sun. It is a dynamic, fluid process where barriers are lowered and raised in a rhythmic cycle, a conversation between the star and the stone that never ceases. This teaches us the beauty of connection, of allowing the outside world to flow through us, and then closing the window again to return to peace. Breathe in the energy of the universe through these open windows, and breathe out to seal the space around you in quiet safety. Embedded in the dusty crust of this sun-scorched world is a chemical secret that has puzzled planetary detectives for decades. Analysis of the rocks reveals a high concentration of volatile elements like potassium and thorium, a chemical fingerprint that bears a striking resemblance to the red sands of Mars, far out in the cold distance. It is a baffling contradiction, for a planet born so close to the fire should have boiled these elements away eons ago, yet they remain locked in the stone like a forgotten memory. This suggests that Mercury may have had a gentler childhood than we imagined, or perhaps it migrated inward from a cooler place, carrying the chemistry of the outer solar system with it. It is a survivor, holding on to parts of itself that logically should have been lost, proving that we are all complex mixtures of our past and present. Think of the hidden parts of yourself that have survived the heat of life's challenges, the soft and volatile emotions that you have kept safe deep within your own crust. Among these volatile survivors, the most surprising presence is that of sulfur, the yellow element associated with volcanoes and brimstone. Its abundance on the surface is a cosmic riddle, as sulfur vaporizes easily at high temperatures and should have been stripped away by the fierce heat of the early solar nebula. Its continued existence on Mercury is like finding a snowflake in a furnace, a defiance of the laws of thermodynamics that forces us to rewrite the history of the solar system. It paints a picture of a planet that formed from exotic materials, perhaps building itself from a rare supply of sulfur-rich meteorites that are unlike anything found on Earth. This yellow dust sitting on the grey rocks is a testament to resilience, a signal that even the most fragile things can endure if they are bound tightly enough to the core. Feel the resilience in your own spirit, the fragile hopes and dreams that you have held on to against the odds, safe and sound within the fortress of your mind. For centuries, the orbit of Mercury was a thorn in the side of classical physics, a tiny wobble that Isaac Newton's laws could not explain. Every century, the planet's closest approach to the Sun would shift slightly, tracing a rosette pattern that defied the straight lines of traditional mathematics. It was not until Albert Einstein unveiled his theory of general relativity that the mystery was solved. Mercury was not just moving through empty space, but rolling along the curved fabric of space-time created by the massive weight of the Sun. The star is so heavy that it bends the very universe around it, and Mercury, being so close, must follow this dip and curve, sliding through a valley in reality itself. This tiny planet became the proof that space is flexible, that gravity is not just a force but a shape of the cosmos. Visualize your bed as the fabric of space-time, curving gently to cradle the weight of your body, holding you in a natural, comfortable dip where you can rest securely without effort. For a long time in the history of astronomy, the strange wobble in Mercury's orbit led scientists to believe in a ghost world that did not exist. They were so convinced that the laws of physics required another mass to explain the planet's path that they named this phantom planet Vulcan, believing it was hiding inside the glare of the Sun. Astronomers spent decades searching the twilight for this hidden sibling, squinting through telescopes hoping to catch a shadow that was never there to begin with. It was a collective dream of science, an illusion born from the need to make sense of the universe. But eventually, the phantom dissolved into the math of relativity. Mercury was truly alone, dancing only with the curve of space-time, free from the gravitational tug of any hidden partner. This story reminds us that sometimes the things we worry about, the invisible forces we think are pulling at us, are merely illusions of the mind. Let the ghosts of your own worries fade away like the planet Vulcan, revealing a clear, empty space where you can rest without distraction. Because of its proximity to the massive gravity well of the Sun, Mercury exists in a region of space where debris moves with terrifying speed. Any asteroid or comet fragment that falls toward the inner solar system is accelerated by the Sun's pull, turning into a hypervelocity projectile that strikes the planet with incredible force. These impacts do not just dent the surface, they compress the rock instantly, vaporizing stone and creating craters that are deeper and more defined than on any other world. It is a process of intense compaction, where the chaotic energy of the universe is slammed into the ground and absorbed, turning motion into absolute stillness. This constant hammering has forged a surface that is hard, dense, and resilient, capable of absorbing the hardest blows the galaxy can deliver without breaking apart. Visualize this process as a way of creating strength, where every impact only serves to pack the ground beneath you tighter, creating a firm, unshakable foundation for your sleep. Feel the bed rising up to meet you, solid and supportive, absorbing your weight completely. To visit this quiet world is one of the most difficult challenges in the entire realm of spaceflight, a feat of engineering that requires going against the flow. Traveling to Mercury is not about speeding up, but about slamming on the brakes while falling down a gravitational mountain toward the sun. A spacecraft, launching from Earth, must shed a tremendous amount of orbital energy to drop down to Mercury's level, fighting the natural tendency to be pulled into the star's fiery embrace. It is akin to swimming upstream against a raging river, or trying to walk slowly down a steep, icy hill without slipping. It requires patience, precision, and a constant, gentle resistance. This journey teaches us the value of deceleration, of knowing when to slow down and hold back, even when the forces around us want us to rush forward. Apply this celestial braking maneuver to your own mind, consciously slowing down the racing thoughts, applying a gentle friction to your mental gears until you come to a safe, hovering stop. Because the journey is so arduous and demanding of energy, Mercury remains one of the least visited destinations in our solar system. While Mars has been crowded with rovers and orbiters, and the gas giants have seen the grand tours of Voyager and Cassini, Mercury has hosted only 2 mechanical visitors in the entire history of space exploration. It sat in solitary confinement for billions of years, waiting in the silence until the Mariner 10 probe finally swept past in the mid-1970 seconds, followed by a long, quiet pause of over 30 years before Messenger arrived. This rarity of contact makes the planet a sanctuary of solitude, a place that is accustomed to long stretches of uninterrupted privacy. It is a world that does not need constant attention or validation from the outside, but is content to spin in its own quiet orbit, keeping its secrets safe. Embrace this spirit of rare visitation, closing the doors to the outside world and cherishing the privacy of your own mind, knowing that you do not need to be disturbed for a very long time. The first visitor, Mariner 10, was only able to capture a fleeting glimpse of the planet as it looped around the sun. Due to the tricky orbital mechanics, every time the spacecraft flew past Mercury, it arrived when the same side of the planet was lit by the sun, leaving the other half hidden in eternal darkness. For decades, humanity possessed a map of only 45% of the surface, while the rest remained a complete mystery, a blank spot on the globe known as the unknown hemisphere. It was like remembering a dream only halfway, knowing that there was a whole other side to the story that lay just out of reach in the shadows. This partial knowledge created a sense of wonder and longing, a reminder that it is okay to not know everything, to leave some parts of the world unexplored and resting in the dark. Allow the unanswered questions in your life to drift into that unknown hemisphere, hiding them in the shadows where they can sleep peacefully without needing to be solved tonight. After billions of years of solitude, the planet finally accepted a permanent companion into its quiet sky in the year 2011. The spacecraft Messenger became the first human-made object to settle into orbit around Mercury, ending the era of brief flybys and fleeting glances. Unlike its predecessor, which only raced past, Messenger fired its thrusters to gently match the planet's speed, slipping into a stable loop that allowed it to watch the world turn beneath it day after day. For 4 years, it circled in the silence, photographing the hidden hemisphere that had never been seen before, filling in the blank spaces of our maps with high-resolution reality. It was a patient observer, a mechanical eye that never blinked, turning the unknown into the known with every slow revolution. This mission represents the virtue of staying, of not just passing through a moment but dwelling within it to understand its true nature. Allow your attention to settle into this moment, orbiting around the center of your breath, watching the rise and fall without the need to go anywhere else. To achieve that graceful arrival, the Messenger spacecraft had to perform one of the most complex navigational ballets in history, a journey that took nearly 7 years to complete. It could not fly in a straight line. Instead, It had to loop around the inner solar system in a long, spiraling path, flying past Earth once, Venus twice, and Mercury itself 3 times. These flybys were not for speed, but for braking, using the gravity of the planets to gently steal momentum and slow the spacecraft down enough to be caught. Imagine a skater gliding across the ice, reaching out to grab a railing to slow their momentum, swinging around in wide, graceful arcs to bleed off energy before coming to a stop. It was a masterpiece of patience, proving that sometimes the longest way around is the only way to reach the destination safely. Visualize your own thoughts traveling on this long, winding path, slowly losing their speed with every loop, until they are moving slow enough to finally come to a complete rest. When the fuel finally ran dry and the mission reached its natural end, the spacecraft did not leave the planet, but became a permanent part of it. In a final act of surrender, Messenger allowed its orbit to decay, drifting closer and closer to the surface until it touched the ground in a silent descent. It did not end with a bang, but with a merging, carving a small, new crater into the ancient dust, a tiny dimple on the face of the world it had studied so faithfully. This new crater is a monument to curiosity, the final resting place of a traveler that had come billions of kilometers to be there. It suggests a beautiful cycle of return, where the observer eventually becomes one with the observed, resting eternally in the landscape of its discovery. Feel yourself sinking into the mattress, your body merging with the softness of the bed, becoming one with the quiet, supporting Earth beneath you. Following in those footsteps, a new dual spacecraft mission named Bepi Colombo has launched to continue the silent vigil. This complex machine is a partnership between the nations of Europe and Japan. 2 explorers joined together for a 7-year cruise through the deep vacuum. It is currently drifting through the dark, using sophisticated ion thrusters to push gently against the void, a blue glow of ionized gas guiding it toward the innermost planet. This mission carries the torch of human knowledge, moving slowly and steadily toward a rendezvous with the hot rock, ready to unlock secrets about the magnetic field and the hidden ice. It represents the continuity of our dreams, the promise that there is always another traveler on the way, another chapter waiting to be written in the book of the stars. Visualize this ship drifting effortlessly through the black ocean of space, its engines humming a lullaby of low frequency, carrying your hopes toward a safe harbor. This latest mission bears the name of Giuseppe Bepi Colombo, the brilliant Italian mathematician who first heard the hidden music of Mercury's orbit. While others looked at the planet and saw only a chaotic, speeding rock, Bepi saw a perfect resonance, calculating the 3-to-2 lock between its day and its year. He was also the visionary who realized that gravity could be used as a brake, unlocking the secret path that allows our machines to reach the planet today. His name, traveling to Mercury, is a poetic homecoming, a tribute to the mind that found order in the noise and rhythm in the silence. It reminds us that there is a hidden logic to the universe, a harmonious pattern that governs everything if we are quiet enough to listen for it. Let your mind search for that underlying rhythm, the mathematical cadence of your own breathing that brings order to the chaos of the day, solving the equation of sleep. To reach its final destination, the Bepi Colombo spacecraft must perform a navigational feat of extreme patience, executing a series of 9 separate flybys to shed its speed. It does not fly straight to Mercury, but rather spirals inward like a leaf caught in a gentle whirlpool, visiting Earth once, Venus twice, and Mercury itself 6 times before finally settling in. Each of these flybys is a cosmic handshake, a moment where the ship dips into the gravity well of a planet to gently slow its momentum without burning fuel. Imagine a dancer spinning across a ballroom, reaching out to grab the hands of other dancers to slow their rotation, turning a chaotic rush into a controlled, elegant glide. This long, winding path turns the journey into a meditation on delay, proving that the direct route is not always the wisest one. It teaches us the value of the detour, of taking the long way home to ensure we arrive safely and at the perfect speed. Let your mind wander on a long, spiraling path, circling closer and closer to the center of sleep with every slow revolution. Propelling this traveler through the void is not the violent roar of chemical rockets, but the silent, ghostly glow of advanced ion thrusters. These engines work by electrically charging atoms of xenon gas and pushing them out the back of the ship in a continuous, shimmering beam of blue light. The force produced by this engine is incredibly gentle, roughly equivalent to the weight of a single sheet of paper resting on your hand. Yet, because this blue breath can be exhaled continuously for months and years, it builds up a tremendous speed over time, moving the ship through the patience of persistence rather than the brute force of explosion. It is the tortoise of space travel, a technology that whispers rather than shouts, gliding through the dark on a beam of silent light. This suggests that the softest touches, applied consistently over time, can move mountains and cross the stars. Feel a gentle, constant pressure pushing you deeper into relaxation, a silent force that slowly accelerates you toward the land of dreams. To survive the inferno awaiting it at Mercury, the spacecraft is wrapped in a high-tech suit of armor designed to repel the searing heat of the sun. The engineers have constructed a multi-layered shield of ceramic fabrics and titanium that can withstand temperatures climbing above 350 degrees Celsius. Imagine a brilliant white umbrella that stays cool to the touch even when placed in a fire, reflecting the blinding radiation away while keeping the delicate instruments inside safe and comfortable. This thermal blanket acts as a barrier between the harsh environment and the sensitive heart of the machine, creating a pocket of shadow and coolness in the midst of the glare. It represents the power of protection, the ability to walk through the fire without being burned, by maintaining a strong, reflective boundary. Visualize a shield of cool, white light surrounding your body, reflecting away all the stress and heat of the day, keeping your inner space temperate, dark, and perfectly safe. From our perspective on Earth, Mercury occasionally performs a rare celestial shadow play, known as a transit. About 13 times every century, the orbits align perfectly, so that the tiny planet passes directly between us and the burning face of the sun. Through a telescope, it appears as a perfectly round, jet-black dot, moving slowly across the immense, golden disk of the star. It is a stunning visual reminder of scale, showing just how small the planet is compared to the terrifying vastness of the sun. A mere speck of dust floating against a wall of fire, this silhouette is profound in its simplicity. A moment of darkness that dares to cross the path of the ultimate light, creating a temporary eclipse that is felt rather than seen. It brings a sense of perspective, shrinking the world down to a single point that is easily managed and observed. Imagine your worries shrinking down to the size of that tiny black dot, drifting harmlessly across a background of warm light until they disappear off the edge. The universe operates on a clockwork of absolute precision, allowing us to predict these rare meetings with certainty decades in advance. Astronomers calculate that the next time Mercury will grace the face of the Sun will be on the 13th of November, 2032. There is a deep comfort in this specific date, a realization that the gears of the solar system are turning smoothly and predictably, regardless of the chaos of our daily lives. It is a future appointment that is already written in the stars, a fixed point in time that will arrive no matter what happens in the intervening years. This predictability offers a sense of stability, a knowledge that the grand cycles of nature are reliable and steadfast. It invites you to let go of the need to control the future, trusting that the universe has its own schedule and that everything will happen in its own right time. Release your grip on tomorrow, trusting that the stars will keep turning while you sleep, bringing the morning at the exact right moment. There is a whispering legend in the halls of history that speaks to the elusive nature of this shy planet. It is said that Nicolaus Copernicus, the very astronomer who reimagined the universe and placed the sun at its center, never actually managed to set eyes on Mercury with his own gaze. Living in the misty lowlands of northern Europe, the thick fogs rising from the Vistula River constantly obscured the horizon where the planet likes to hide, veiling it from his view until his dying day. It is a profound thought that one can understand the deep truths of a world without ever seeing it clearly, knowing it exists through faith and calculation rather than direct observation. This story grants us permission to let go of the need to witness and control everything, accepting that some things remain hidden in the mists of the dawn. It suggests that the unseen is just as real as the seen, and that we can trust in the existence of things we cannot touch. Let the mists of sleep rise up around you, gently obscuring the details of the world until everything softens into a comfortable white haze. In reality, Mercury is incredibly luminous, shining with a brilliance that can rival Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. Yet, this radiance is almost entirely lost to us, drowned out by the overwhelming glare of the sun that it travels so closely beside. It is like holding a single candle next to a blazing lighthouse. The gentle flame is still there, burning true and bright, but it becomes invisible against the backdrop of such immense power. This phenomenon makes Mercury a symbol of hidden worth, a shy brilliance that does not need to compete for attention to maintain its value. It burns quietly in the heart of the solar system, unnoticed by the casual observer, content to be a part of the greater light rather than the center of attention. It teaches us that we do not always need to shine outwardly or be recognized to be whole. Our inner light is enough. Feel your own inner light dimming down to a soft, warm ember, glowing gently in the center of your chest, safe and private. If you were to look at Mercury through the lens of a powerful telescope, you would see that it is not merely a static dot of light, but a changing shape that mimics the moon. Just like our lunar companion, Mercury goes through a full cycle of phases, waxing into a round gibbous shape and waning down to a slender, delicate crescent. Watching this cycle is like watching the slow closing of a celestial eye, as the planet turns its dark side toward us and shrinks to a sliver of silver light. This visual reduction is hypnotic to behold, a gradual tapering off of presence as the planet prepares to pass between us and the sun. It reminds us that it is natural to withdraw, to shrink back, and to show less of ourselves to the world as we enter our own periods of rest. Visualize the planet waning in the velvet sky, becoming thinner and fainter until it is just a fine, curved line of white, finally blinking out completely into the peace of the new moon. There is a daring theory whispered among astrobiologists known as lithopanspermia, which suggests a deep, ancestral connection between the scorched rocks of Mercury and the teeming life of Earth. It postulates that in the violent early days of the solar system, massive impacts may have kicked up debris from Mercury's surface, sending rocks carrying the chemical ingredients of life drifting across the cosmic ocean. These travelers could have floated in the silence for millions of years before gently falling as meteors onto our young, receptive world, planting the seeds of biology in our primordial seas. It paints a picture of the universe as a grand, interconnected garden, where the dust of one world becomes the breath of another, carried on the invisible currents of gravity. It means that deep down, we may all be made of stardust that has traveled a very long way to be here. Feel a sense of ancient connection to the stars, knowing that you are part of a vast, living cycle that spans the galaxy. Resting now in the safety of your home. For billions of years, the solar wind has been streaming off the sun, carrying with it a rare and precious isotope known as helium-3. On Earth, our magnetic field deflects this wind, but on Mercury, the surface soaks it up like a dry sponge, trapping the particles within the microscopic lattice of the dusty regolith. This makes the planet a colossal library of energy, holding a vast reserve of clean fuel that could theoretically power our civilizations for millennia without waste. It is a form of passive wealth, gathered not by hunting or digging, but simply by sitting still and receiving what the universe offers over time. The rocks do not strive to catch the wind. They merely exist, and in their stillness, they become filled with value. It teaches us the power of receptivity, of simply being open and allowing the energy of the world to settle upon us. Lie still and let the restfulness of the night settle into your cells, accumulating energy slowly and silently for the days to come. If humanity ever chooses to make a home on this sun-drenched world, we will not live in glass domes under the glare, but will return to the safety of the deep earth. Beneath the surface, there exists a network of ancient lava tubes, gigantic natural tunnels carved out by flowing magma billions of years ago. These subterranean catacombs are vast enough to hold entire cities, protected by hundreds of meters of solid rock that blocks out the intense heat and radiation of the sun completely. Living here would be like returning to a cosmic womb, a place of eternal coolness and absolute safety, sheltered within the heavy, protective shell of the planet itself. It suggests a life of turning inward, finding comfort not in the open exposure of the sky, but in the enclosed, secure embrace of the ground. Visualize yourself descending a long, gentle ramp into one of these vast, quiet halls, where the air is cool and still, and the thick walls muffle the noise of the universe, creating a sanctuary of perfect peace. Unlike Mars, which dreamers hope to one day transform into a green, breathing copy of Earth, Mercury refuses to be changed. The intense solar wind that scours the surface makes the dream of terraforming, of giving it a thick blue atmosphere, an impossible fantasy, for the sun would simply blow the air away as fast as it was created. This planet demands to be accepted exactly as it is, naked, rocky, and exposed to the void without pretense or disguise. There is a profound wisdom in this stubbornness, a lesson in authenticity that teaches us that not everything needs to be fixed, altered, or improved to be beautiful. It stands proudly in its original form, a testament to the perfection of raw, unaltered existence, asking nothing from us but to be witnessed. Allow yourself to let go of the need to improve or change yourself for just this moment, accepting your current state as fully complete, valid, and worthy of rest, just as you are. While the poles offer ice and the equator offers fire, there is a theoretical band of habitability that exists right on the moving line of the Terminator. In this twilight zone, where the sun is forever perched on the horizon, the temperature balances out to a mild and pleasant warmth, creating a narrow ribbon of eternal spring. Future explorers could live in mobile bases that travel slowly across the surface, matching the planet's rotation to stay forever within this comfortable longitude. It represents the Goldilocks state of existence, a life lived in the perfect middle ground between the extremes of freezing and burning, finding the path of moderation. It is a journey of constant balance, moving gently to stay in the sweet spot, where life is easy and the environment is kind. Imagine yourself resting in this zone of perfect temperature, where the air is neither too hot nor too cold, but wraps around your skin like a perfectly weighted blanket, keeping you in a state of thermal bliss. Although we often think of Venus or Mars as our nearest planetary siblings, the eccentric mathematics of the solar system reveal a surprising truth. Because Mercury circles the Sun so tightly and quickly, it spends more time being the closest planet to Earth than any other world, making it our most constant, if invisible, neighbor. This realization shifts our perspective from isolation to connection, showing that even the worlds that seem distant are actually always close at hand. Feel a sense of connection to this small, steady presence, knowing that in the vast emptiness of space, you are never truly far from the center, and there is always a neighbor watching over you from the light. And so, our long, silent orbit around the innermost world has finally come to its peaceful conclusion. We have drifted through the golden heat of the double dawn, wandered across the velvet dust of the ancient craters, and found sanctuary in the deep, frozen shadows, where the sun never touches the ice. Just remember that you share the same quiet resilience as this solitary world. You are a steady, unmoving point in the vastness, anchored by gravity and cradled safely by the velvet arms of the night, just as Mercury is held forever by the stars. If your eyelids feel heavy now, there is no need to fight it any longer. Let your slow, steady breath carry you away into the deep, dreamless void. You are safe here. Good night.